was talking about just, or I guess really asking the question is what's happened to black culture? Because this is not the black culture that I grew up with. And the Diddy lawsuit potentially answers a lot of those questions. So
do you say where you grew up?
I was born in White Plains, New York, and I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay. What can you catch us up on the P. Diddy lawsuit? I haven't been in this area as much.
Are you kidding?
My mind has been, I've done Israel Palestine for the last 4 years or 4 months, and then like a whole bunch of red pill stuff before that. So my mind is not.
So in case you guys have not seen it, you can go over to my YouTube channel. I've been covering it, and if you're there, definitely subscribe. But so essentially, at the end of last year, Diddy was dating that girl Cassie for a long time, about 10 years.
Okay.
And she started making allegations that Diddy was very into some very sexually deviant things, that I would say.
Okay.
And forced her to do a lot of things against her will, or drugs, whatever. She files this lawsuit, and basically overnight, I'm obviously being a bit hyperbolic, but he pays her off. So it ends. And then Cat Williams kind of alludes to the fact that more stuff is going to come out in 2024, and then a producer whose name is Rodney drops a lawsuit, and he alleges to have hundreds of hours of footage backing up his claims, and in the lawsuit he actually dropped pictures. So it wasn't just this, because you can always have a frivolous lawsuit, it can mean nothing. And what essentially his lawsuit suggests, allegedly, just for protection here, is that there's a blackmail ring in Hollywood. Diddy is a gangster. On top of Diddy sits Lucian Grange, who is the CEO of Universal Music Group. And this was, for me, one of the wildest parts. He tells a story about one night where Diddy got mad at somebody and just shot them in like the stomach and the hip. He shows the pictures of the blood all around the bathroom because he was right there when the person got shot, and he allegedly went to his knees and tried to help the person. It was Diddy and his son who allegedly shot him. But they said that there's one person that you call when something like that happens, and that guy's name is like Fahim something, and he will come clean it up. The LAPD will write a fake police report, and he shows like how the news then reported that the shooting happened outside, and then it got wiped under the rug. And what's interesting is that guy who you call, the security guy, was the same security person who was one of only 2 people there when Michael Jackson died. So it's now reopened, all the Michael Jackson stuff. Super interesting. A lot of stuff that I would say, a lot of proof presented in these documents. Like I said, there's a lot of photos included. And if what he is spelling out is correct, then it's basically a homosexual ring that works by blackmail. They host these, what he calls freak-offs, and they drug people, and they get them to sleep with a minor or do something, that you wouldn't want publicized. And then they own you, right? Because it's like, well, we have you on camera doing this, and so you're going to say or do whatever I want. So very much like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Gotcha. Are these in indictments, or are these just like affidavits or statements to the media? Is any of this stuff like gone to court yet?
It's the lawsuit that he filed. So we're reading the lawsuit documents directly.
This is a civil lawsuit, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Okay.
He's suing Universal Music Group. He's suing Lucian Grange personally. He alleges that Lucian Grange and Diddy are in a relationship by saying it like they disappear into Diddy's room and for hours, and like this is the stuff that I've seen. I was groomed for sex. Like essentially he wasn't a gay man, but then Diddy found him when he was young. These are the allegations he's making. Again, a lot of photos like of other rappers. He's named like Cuba Gooding Jr., who's an actor.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Is there has any of this stuff like leaked to the media in terms of like pictures or strong hard evidence, or are these mainly just in the charging documents or the civil case documents so far?
That's also what's really interesting, is that yes, it's being covered, but not in the way that it should be covered. The fact that you don't know about it, to me, is crazy, because we've never seen someone that with hundreds of hours of footage putting in photos like, here's a picture of the drugs that I have to carry at all times to keep Diddy high. Here's the name of the woman that gets the drugs. Here's a drug dealer. Here's a photo of me with this person. Here's the blood on the floor that night. It's like we've never seen this much proof to make those claims. So it's definitely something to watch.
Somebody said, I just see in chat, somebody said over $100 million to the first civil suit that got settled in less than 24 hours. Is that true?
What's that? Over $100 million to
the first civil suit that got settled in less than 24 hours.
Did that happen with this?
I have no idea. I just
you might be talking about Cassie, because that got settled pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
And yeah, that Diddy's basically just at the top of a gang, and the person that's above him is Lucian Grange, which is just wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? You made a mention that this might be an indicator to things that have happened with black culture. What do you mean by that, I guess?
So there has been just a very obvious corrosion in Black culture. Like the music that I grew up in, I was listening to The Temptations, Lauryn Hill, like it was all about like family, love. It was real talent. And then something just really shifted and it all became about derogatory, debased gangster rap. And it's a change that I've noted in a lot of my commentary. And, you know, I think other people have, like I asked the question, there's a really, in my view, disgusting artist, just in terms of the stuff that she publishes and the photos that she publishes, named Sexy Red, who they're now making a thing, right? Who makes the decision to sign a Sexy Red? You're telling me you have all the money and all the talent at your fingertips, and you sign a woman who at her baby shower, 9 months pregnant, however pregnant she was twerking and had her butt cheeks in, like somebody's face was inside of her butt cheeks. That to me is very intentional, because you're not signing her based on talent. You're not signing her based on following. You're signing her because it's filth, and you're perpetuating this filth into my community. So it's just something that I've noticed, something I talk about often, that we're intentionally being sold crack, it feels like, you know.
So I'm trying to think of which direction I want to go.
Any direction you want. I'm an open book.
Yeah, you're fine. There are okay, so there are like two kind of different ways of viewing this. And I feel like you fall more to one side and then I'll go my side, and then we can kind of see if we can iron out or figure where we are at, I guess, in the middle here. I feel like when you look at the evolution of, when we say like degenerate Black culture or degenerate Black music, I think we're generally talking about like the beginning of hip hop and rap, and then kind of the evolution of that going forward, coming away from like the R&B singers and everybody like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or whatever, right?
Yeah. But hip hop isn't always filth. But yeah, I get your point.
But that seems like the
generalizing.
Yeah. It feels like when I look at music, or if I look at music that people create, oftentimes the music is a reflection of their circumstances. And you can see, especially as America and the Black communities became more conscientious maybe of the ghettos that they'd been kind of pushed into, or the policing situations that they'd had to be a part of, or drugs destroying their communities, et cetera, et cetera. And then those people turning to crime, that you also see the music and the art kind of reflect those conditions. And then those pieces of art that get created, especially the music, end up being like worldwide popular. Like the most popular genre of music in the world is like hip hop and rap. So when I look at people pushing certain stuff today, I'm like, okay, well, we got two really big, in my opinion, I went to school for music, I don't know if you talk about the saxophone or whatever, so we had two really big contributions to the world of music from America. One was jazz, that came basically from the Black community, and then the second was like rap and hip hop. These forms of music become popular. People see that it's popular. They want to get involved. Obviously, the money men, the people on top, they want to kind of continue to push this because it's popular, and everybody around the world consumes it. Mm-hmm. I feel like there are a lot of market forces at work that kind of perpetuate this and keep this happening. And that feels pretty satisfying to me to explain what's going on. So when we ask, like, why is it a woman twerking with somebody's face in her butt cheeks? Because, well, for whatever reason, that's like what the worldwide culture seems to want to see right now. And then on the other side, it feels like from people, I don't want to just say conservatives, but I would say broadly speaking, I guess I'll say on your side in general, it feels like there's this idea that there's this much more intentional or like malevolent force working behind the scenes. Yes, there is.
And so I'm going to push back on what you're suggesting here. You're suggesting that this reflects the community, and they're sharing their stories in a way that makes sense. That's completely not true. Okay, WAP does not reflect the circumstances that Black people are living in. You know, singing about your vagina and how hard it's getting pounded is not the circumstance of living in the hood. I come from nothing. It's not that did not make me feel closer to the circumstances that I grew up in. And unfortunately, that's actually what people are telling Black Americans. Like, actually, it's working the other way. You're putting something, your eyes and your ears are the windows to the soul. And you're basically, when you celebrate someone, and I'm using Cardi B here as an example because I think people are probably more familiar with her than they are with Sexy Red. When you put someone like that on the Grammys stage, which is, again, a decision being made. When I was growing up, the best, most talented people were on the Grammy stage. It was something you could watch with your family. And you still had poor people. You still had, you still had poor people. You still had people that were living in the hood. Okay, we didn't need somebody talking about their vagina in order to feel seen. So what you're doing is you're setting the stage for younger girls who aspire to celebrities to say, okay, well, if I mimic that behavior, I too can become famous. What you're actually doing is you're setting the idols that people are going to look up to, and people are going to think this is what I should aspire to. So it's actually working in the exact opposite way.
Can I ask a
And
question?